You might have heard that drawing is a skill that you can learn, and it is very true. And today I want to take you through 3 things that have drastically improved my ability to draw. Hey, my name is Jess. I'm from the Gold Coast Art School, and I am about to give you a crash course in drawing. And I want you to do me a favor. When you've watched this video, I want you to try these things out for yourself, then come back to this video and tell me what you think in the comments down below. Now today I'm using this picture of a hand as a bit of a demonstration of these 3 things, but the idea is that you can apply these 3 things to anything. So let's start with tip number 1, which is using basic shapes with your drawings. Things like circles, squares, rectangles, and triangles. When you're looking at things around you, see if you can break them down into these really basic shapes. Sometimes it will be really obvious, like this flower can be broken down into 2 circles. But even for something more complex, like this picture of a fox, this can be broken down into things like triangles, ovals, and rectangles. I'm going to show you another reason why this is really important in just a second, but to start with drawing the hand, I look at the really basic shapes first. So a lot of this is just rectangles. The palm of the hand is like a large rectangle. The wrist and the start of the arm is another rectangle shape. And each of these fingers can kind of be broken down into rectangles as well. Using this process first can also be really calming, because instead of looking at something and thinking that is way too complex and stressful, you're actually just breaking it all down into the most basic form, and you are far more likely to have success with your drawing if you do this first. And here's why this is also really important. Quite often when we're drawing, we'll misjudge the size or perspective of something, which means you might accidentally cut off part of your picture. But if you block it in with basic shapes first, you know that your picture will fit on the page and look just right. Tip number 2 is to use similar measurements. Finding the similar measurements in your subject matter will help make sure that everything is just the right size and perspective. For example, if I use the width of one of these oranges as a measurement, I can then compare that to other parts in the image to see how tall they are, how wide they are, and compare the distances and sizes of different parts of the face. When I'm using this tip in my own drawings, I can also use my pencil as a bit of a measuring stick. I can start to compare things like the length of the palm compared to the length of the wrist that I can see. By using similar measurements in the drawing, I'm now able to start refining what I'm doing. And that means I'm making my line work a bit heavier. And I can really start to see if I'm on track or if I need to change things. Tip number 3 is a lot more subtle, and it's all about finding the negative spaces. I like to think of negative space as the stuff that just isn't there. They're these empty spaces that are around and in between the drawing. But they can really help you out because they're giving you these interesting little shapes and angles. And if you pay attention to them, they can really push your artwork up to the next level. Now for this hand picture, the background is all in black, so it's a lot easier to see what are the negative shapes of this picture. What are the parts that are not there? And in this case, I used the negative space to help me understand more about the shapes and the angles around the fingers and in between as well. Especially when it came to the pointing finger, I found it really challenging and I struggled to get it just right. And even by the end, I wasn't entirely satisfied by how I had drawn it, but I think that I got it close enough. Using negative spaces, especially in between the fingers, really helped me understand where the finger has to go. Now it's up to you. Take action. I would love you to go and try these tips out for yourself and then come back to this video and tell me what you think. Did they help? In the future, I'd love to go into more depth with these tricks, so make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you next time. Bye!